Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Mommy Guide Inc., where we talk about everything that are dear and essentials to moms and moms at heart. For those who are new to my channel, I am Mami Lala. I'm a homeschooling mom and advocate, but I am a result of a traditional way of learning. So I do respect whatever method the family decides to pursue in terms of educating their children. The pandemic, however, has brought about a homeschooling tidal wave, so to speak. The past year had brought about the desire to do homeschooling by most families as we all try to adapt and cope to the situation we are all in. In today's episode, we talk about homeschooling. What is it all about and what it is not. Okay, so we would want to hear from you and engage with you. So please put your questions on the comment section of Mommy Guide Inc. Facebook page or my personal Facebook page or even on Mommy Guide Inc.'s YouTube channel. Okay, but we also, as a reminder, we would also appreciate it if we can keep all the engagements, of course, respectful. I pray that as you join us this afternoon, that you will find answers to questions you have been most curious about homeschooling, and hope that we can actually inspire you to do homeschooling if you feel that it fits you. All right, so joining me this afternoon in this discussion is none other than Teacher Doctora Donna Pangilinan Simpao, as we fondly call her in the homeschooling community. Teacher Dr. Donna, is founder of Homeschoolers of the Philippines, where I am a proud member of. Okay, Homeschoolers of the Philippines to date has 37,000 members and still growing. Dr. Donna is also the former HAPI, which stands for Homeschool Association of the Philippine Islands president from 2018 up to 2020. Author din po si Dr. Donna of Kidstarter Curious Curriculum. Okay, I will show you later kung saan po at papaano mapupuntahan ito. And then she's also a primary care physician focusing on integrative health, nutrition, and holistic medicine. Yes, she's really a doctor po. All right? And Teacher Donna, MD on Facebook. She has her Facebook page din po on that one. So she is also speaker for conferences, seminars, parenting, homeschooling of course, and health and wellness. In short, she is super mom, super doctor, speaker, teacher. And so, hindi ko alam kung saan niya nahahanap in her like 24 hours a day. Maisingit lahat ng ito. But she is very active and is a very strong proponent of all of these things po. And so, without further ado, let's all welcome Dr. Donna Pangilinan Simpao. Hello! Good afternoon,
Hello.
Dr. Donna! Yes, natuloy din tayo.
Yes, and happy Friday to you, Lala. Thank you for having me.
Yes, it's a blessing, Doktora. So, let's move on na. Kasi mahaba-haba ito. Okay. So,
Yes,
Doktora,
yes.
oo. Ang topic natin is about homeschooling. Okay? So, homeschooling way back like a decade ago isn't as what it is today, right? Opo. Oo.
Yes,
So,
yes.
how did it start? And yung, kumbaga, yung personal journey niyo po muna in homeschooling.
Well, actually, you would say in the Philippines, it's been around for more than 4 decades, perhaps. So I
Hmm.
came in the late 90s, early 2000, where homeschoolers were nakafocus siya mostly dun sa mga church-based,
Mm, mm.
um, missionary-based, and for a certain portion, there were the ones who were nasa home education program ng DepEd, which was athletes,
Oh,
celebrities,
okay.
ang may kapansanan, mga may disabilities. So
Oh.
there, so homeschooling in the 2000s were largely independent homeschoolers, church-based homeschoolers, or those that have been doing home education program by the DepEd.
Okay. So it's not something like what we do right now, no, na parang we have options in terms of
Yes,
curriculum kasi we have
yes,
different like providers and stuff like that. Okay.
yes.
So na-mention yun ba kanina na parang may DepEd and then there's independent, 'di ba po? So, how does it differ really right now the scenario of homeschool? Okay, how does it differ
Okay.
from yung mga independent,
The
traditional, yung
reason,
DepEd?
the reason we needed to define it, that because we have an educational system in the country,
Mhm.
and they have a framework, and in order for us to be able to move the national homeschooling movement, we had to kind of find a way to be included in the framework of the DepEd. So the work has been laid out decades ago, and so homeschooling was sort of like nagkaroon ng collaboration with the DepEd, where they try to understand homeschooling, and we also try to find ways kung saan papasok ang homeschooling in the framework. So the
Mm.
definition of homeschooling that I represent from Happy and Hop, and from the early 2000 homeschooling, pre-pandemic homeschooling,
Opo.
was a parent-led type of education where the parents or guardians or possibly hired tutors take on the full responsibility. It could be done in the context of mayroong kang provider in independent homeschooling fashion, or yun. So parang the focus is really parent-led. Yun.
Mhm, mhm.
Ha.
So it's
Yun. Subalit,
parent-led.
parent-led, ikaw nag-decide pretty much on all the majors. And then, because nga of the pandemic, where the whole world pretty much went into home-based learning, home learning,
Exactly.
yun, medyo lumawak yung definition ng homeschooling, that now everybody can have a claim to homeschooling in a sense. Wala namang may-ari ng definition ng homeschooling, di ba? It's a
Mm,
general
mm.
term. But dun mo makikita yung difference, wherein the traditional homeschoolers that's doing it parent-led, now you have home-based learners that are doing it either through what they call distance learning. Now, yung distance learning now can now be on online learning, na may virtual classes, or distance learning module, which is
Hmm.
available na merong restrictions, limitations in Wi-Fi, streaming, or in gadgets.
Mm, 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 mm. So,
So,
naku,
yun ang
lumawak na pala talaga, no?
siya. So, in a way, may konting refinement, and people want to own the word homeschooling. In a way, parang they want to distinguish it, that
Oo nga
what
eh.
may ganon. Pero at
Oo.
the same time, pandemic levels, so it's really maybe the dividing kind of definition might not be as constructive. But I think for the purpose of knowing what to expect, goals small, making decisions, kailangan maging klaro na I cannot do the parent-led homeschooling, so I'll probably do a home-based learning approach that's blended mix of I'm gonna do some part, but I'll have to enroll in a school that provides online classes. Yon. So yun yung mga medyo
Oh,
detail. Oh,
okay. So yun, kaya doktora, hindi kailangan na very strict ang definition because it can actually be parang modeled to the family's needs. 'Di ba? Pa as you said,
yes. So,
what if wala
oo.
sila talagang uh, internet connection or for whatever
Yes.
it is. So we don't want that homeschooling be so like placed in a box, right?
Exclusive.
Yes,
Yeah, or
masyadong
exclusive
exclusive.
na siya.
Opo. All
Yes.
right.
Oo.
Okay, so yung the kind of home, so we're gonna talk about the kind of homeschooling which actually Dr. Donna and I actually kumaga, that is what we're doing. That's what we espouse. Okay? Again,
Mm-hmm.
hindi naman namin ito pinipilit sa inyo, all right? But
Yes.
this is okay how we do it and how we have been doing it for a while. So let's go
Mm-hmm.
to yung curriculum doc tsaka yung legality of homeschooling in the Philippines.
Mm-hmm.
How is it like for those isa yan sa mga major questions nila like for me I have friends who
Mm-hmm.
want to homeschool but then they're afraid paano if like we want to bring them back to, let's say, after pandemic, right? Bring back to a regular school, so to speak. Regular meaning the traditional, okay? Hindi naman tayo irregular way. Sabi niya, a different way lang tayo. Kumbaga, they want
I
to go
get you.
back
I
to the, yeah, the
Indian
big schools, di ba po? So, ayun yung fear nila. Maa-accredit ba ito? And then, how about the
Oo,
curriculum? How do we start? What do we do?
oo,
Yan yung mga ganyan,
oo.
doktora.
So, ang sabi ko nga, homeschoolers na parent-led type of homeschooling, uh, really takes a lot of skills in decision making and in finding ano yung mga importante sa pag-decide. So,
Mm-mm.
dapat sana nalalaman ng magulang or nung kung sino man in charge kung why. Bakit ko ba pinili ang parent-led homeschooling?
Mm-mm.
This will now make you decide on the other areas of homeschooling. So sa legality, nasa batas naman yan na parents are given the right or we have the freedom to educate our children. In terms of permits and requirements, again, it will all depend on your level of decision making wherein ano bang plano mo talaga after mag-homeschool? Ibabalik ba sila sa
Mm-mm.
regular school that will require DepEd accredited transcript? Then, if yun ang goal mo, hindi ka lalabas ng Pilipinas, ang hihanapin ng mga schools ay yung mga yung mga forms and transcripts na may seal ng DepEd, then you will have to go to a DepEd accredited homeschool provider. Doon ka
Mm.
mag-enroll so that meron ka kaagad learner reference number, yung
Mm-mm.
transcript mo, DepEd accredited
Yan, very
kaagad. Yung
important.
documents mo are in order. Doon minsan nagkakaproblema because dahil, dumami na ang pandemic, homeschool providers, kailangan maklaro kung meron talaga silang DepEd accreditation or permit.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, so
Correct.
doon nagkakagulo.
So,
Kapag ka na-enroll ka, tapos hindi pala yun accredited, tapos gusto mo nang lumipat, wala silang maibigay na form.
so yun pala. So,
Yeah.
kailangan due diligence din, no, sa parents. So,
Yes.
what's
Oo.
your reason? What's your plan? Okay, so yun
Yes.
nga sinasabi ni Doktora. If you have a plan na make sure that the papers, the documents, the
Very
legal side of it
important.
are parang
Oo.
nakaset ka. Kasi if you
Oo.
plan to, oo.
Yeah.
Kasi
Although
there are,
Lala, meron tayong independent homeschoolers
yes po, paano
that
pag
have,
independent? Oo.
yeah, ang independent kasi by virtue of the word independent is you have sole freedom. You are apart from any system. You have decided that you want the freedom, you want the leeway, you want the lack of pressure on the areas or the requirements that is set upon by you ng school, provider. So, you're free.
Mm-mm.
However, there are options wherein independent homeschoolers can no longer, for example, for reason of illness, for reason of malaki na masyado yung mga bata, gusto nang pumasok. The DepEd naman provides what you call yung evaluation placement exams
Ayan,
na
importante yan.
kukunin ng mga independent homeschoolers para ma-level sila. Yun ang mag-accredit o mag-validate ng past homeschool experience nila para malaman kung at par sila dun sa gusto nilang level na pasukan.
Oh,
The
okay.
only drawback with the PEPT test na yun yung binibigay sa homeschoolers na walang DepEd forms or DepEd documents is because of the pandemic and because of also the volume of work that the DepEd has, it's not as regular. It's not as monthly, hindi kasing, it's not as easy as taking a driver's license exam. Hindi
Mm-mm.
ganun kadali. So yung iba na, you can say, maski ako, na-turn off dun sa, nakadepende ko dun sa isang exam na yon na what if hindi maibigay, lalo na nung pandemic, they had to stop
Mm-mm.
giving it. Parang medyo nakatenga ka for a while kasi pahirapan apply. But I think the DepEd now has become more able
Mm-mm.
and nag-release na sila ng mga dates and I am not that sure exactly how it is done on a per branch
At
or
this
region
moment.
level.
Oo. So, best
That
na
would
lang
be,
po, oo, di ba, to go to, call DepEd. Okay? But
yes,
definitely, okay, Doktora, homeschooling is very
It's
much a
legal.
legal option. Okay?
Mm,
So it
yes,
will be
yes.
credited, okay, if you okay, so two options, basically the bigger options, no? If you want the parent-led, merong providers, homeschool providers, na
Oo.
they
Tapos
are,
meron pang international. Oo,
nga
sorry.
pala, bago,
Apart from the DepEd
international.
provider,
Oo.
apart from the DepEd providers, meron pa tayong international providers,
Yes, oo.
which kailangan din maklaro ng ating mga parents na kasi minsan the international providers are more affordable, are more tech savvy, siguro is online. So, kailangan din malaman nyo na tatanggapin ba ito ng school na gusto nyong pasukan in the future dahil hindi sila nakasangkas sa DepEd. So,
Mm.
either magpe-PEPT test, so it's no guarantee na kung yung provider mo is, kung meron kang provider, pero international na lang, hindi pa garantisado yon na madaling makapasok sa regular schools.
Okay.
However, we received, although hindi pa siya formalized in a written DepEd memorandum, we received some news just about 3 weeks ago
Wow.
that
Very recent.
the big schools, that the schools, private schools, are opening or are accepting international accreditation. But don't quote me, but
Yes.
we've just received that some of them have not been able, hindi na kinailangan mag-PEPT test
Oh, that's good.
because
So they will
tinanggap na
consider
yung,
it. Okay. But then again, it's not
siguro,
certain.
yeah, yeah. But
Okay.
siguro because alam mo yon, in aid of compassion due to the pandemic,
Yes.
para they know that if pumasa ka naman sa accreditation na international, I think it can work. It's already accepted.
Yes, oo.
But
I think ang
verify,
yes,
verify. That is
correct,
necessary.
Doktora. I think ang nagiging issue from what I heard, mga friends ko na ibang nag-international curriculum, is that yung Filipino. Kasi walang Filipino, 'di ba? That
Oo
part.
nga.
Oo. So I think for some of them, what they did, that was in the past, prior pandemic, no? I don't know na, baka pwedeng wala na din, no? But they had to take that Filipino PEP test from
Yun pa
DepEd.
rin.
Just the
That's hard.
Yeah. So hindi yung mga ang yung iba kasi to escape the Filipino part.
Oo, yun
Naging
nga yung ginagawa.
international. Oo,
Oo.
curriculum pero wala hong ano kasi kailangan mo pa ring mag-take ng Filipino exam. 'Di ba?
Yes,
So that was
yes.
before, but as Doktora said, medyo dynamic ngayon ang nangyayari because this is, nobody really planned for us to be in, pandemic and all of these things. We are all adjusting. And that the nice thing lang is that, at least DepEd is open, all right, to,
Yes.
acknowledging that homeschooling is a very valid and powerful option to actually continue
Yes.
educating our kids.
Yeah. Yes. Yes,
So,
definitely.
oo. So, ang isang issue, thank you for clarifying those, Doktora, no? Okay, again, later, pag marami pa kayong questions, isasabihin ko sa inyo, 10 tayo pupunta. Alright? At anong grupo yung pwede nating puntahan. Kasi po, when I also started, so, they actually, Doktora Donna, she was, there, as she said, parang 4 decades ago pa nag-start ang homeschooling in the Philippines. But, very, very few people, sabi nga ni Doktora, parang mga athletes, those who have really, really somehow hampered para makapunta sa isang regular or traditional school. But fairly recently, like when I started,
Yes.
that's when parang talagang marami nang nakakaisip na this is a very good option. Right? Especially yung mga biblical
Yes.
based na gusto natin, 'di ba? So at any rate, so isa sa mga major issues, Doktora, socialization. Takot na takot ang mga, lalo na yung mga hindi nakakaintindi, kawawa ang mga bata, walang socialization. Bakit mo sila hino-homeschool? Maawa ka sa mga anak mo. Okay, so Doktora, paano natin to i-explain sa mga friends natin, mga magulang natin, or mga relatives na who think that in homeschooling, we are actually ruining the socialization part of growth ng ating mga kids?
Well, actually, it would, as parents talaga, we really also need to understand yung growth and development ng children in the different domains. Cognitive, physical, social-emotional, spiritual. So kapag nagtuturo ka, di ba, ina-adjust mo yung inyong learning sessions, yung mga material as they grow up. So socialization is a lifelong Kumbaga, until this very day, tayo lalaw,
Mm,
still learning how to socialize, di ba? And now,
exactly.
pumasok ang virtual learning, so it's a new ball game for many of us. So, we believe that yung ganong klaseng parang fixed mindset that says they will lack in social skills if they are homeschooled comes
Yes.
from a lack of awareness of how does socialization really happen. It is always tied to a school,
Mm-hmm.
which is which is one case, but
Mm-hmm.
it has been proven that you learn much of your social skills at home with
Mm-hmm.
your parents, your siblings, si ate, si kuya, or if you have kasambahay, if you
Mm-hmm.
have grandparents.
Mm-hmm.
Children do not need 40 classmates to learn social skills. So, the vertical relationship of and the horizontal, kumbaga, yung iba't ibang relationship, whether it be spiritual, vertical, and horizontal, mga tao sa bahay, doon natututo from conversation with parents, visit to the grocery,
Mm-hmm.
talking, modeling, nakikita nila yung parents nila how we communicate, how we socialize. Yun ang pinaka formative years na from 0 to 7 years old ng social skills.
Mm-hmm.
And this has been backed up by a study by Miss Rock Sevilla of UP College of Education,
Mm-hmm.
Master siya in Education in the teaching the early grades, no?
Mm-hmm.
The backup niya through her thesis that children, well, she covered only up to grade 2, I think, 8 years old, that children have adequate social activities in order to grow in those different areas. And two, na-observe na yon,
Mm-hmm.
through interviews with coaches, tutors, and the parents, na-observe niya yon with the children. And she concluded that homeschool children in this age level are adequate with their social skills. So, ang recommendation ng study niya is palakahin pa nga add
Mm-hmm.
more, add more sample size. Pero na-prove niya. Now,
Mm-hmm.
with the families that we worked with and interviewed, they have social skills. And so many studies in the United States have proven the same thing as well.
Correct. So
So,
at
yun.
least now we have a
Yeah.
study, no, na Philippine-based, and it has
And
already proven also.
But but then again, it does not mean you will withhold it if there are opportunities to do so, di ba?
Mm-hmm.
That's why yung mga homeschool providers or yung mga support groups in church, nagkakaroon sila ng co-ops pre-pandemic.
Yes.
Tayo doon, di ba? We
Yes.
would go every week. There would be joint classes. There would be mommy day off and then the kids
Yeah.
play.
We have
Hindi naman ibig
field trips. We have.
Oo, yun. Hindi ibig sabihin na just because they learn it at home, di natin i-provide yon. And it's an instinct for us Intuitive na we will reach out to others. So yung konsepto lang that a preschooler will only learn social skills if you put her in a class of 15 na dun lang niya matututo, it's very limited concept of socialization. And we've proven it. And with the 40 years of homeschooling in the Philippines, and I've
Mm-hmm.
met, having managed the group for like almost 5, 6 years,
Mm-hmm.
or I think, yes,
Yes.
and being the
I think
community
more
for
po.
oh, 2 decades of being in the homeschool, I have never met a homeschooler who was shy, yung generally
Exactly.
gone. So,
Opo.
yeah,
Totoo yan. And isa pa nga po, as a homeschooling mom myself up to now, no? Although graduate na ako sa panganay ko kasi college na
yeah,
po. Pareho kami din
yeah,
doktora. Si doktora graduate na talaga siya eh. Oo. Oo. Tapos na siya sa homeschooling for. Kaya talagang siya ang aming mentor in terms of
oh,
homeschooling.
may oras
Opo.
na, may oras
Oo,
na.
may oras na. Oo. So, alam niyo po, actually, yung socialization, ako nga po nagkakaproblema sa sobrang daming options, even prior to
Mm,
pandemic. Ano po? So, in school, in a regular school, they are always with the same set of people, diba? Okay, in
mm.
homeschooling, it's like, a different class, they have different set of friends.
Different
'Di ba
ages pa,
different
di ba?
ages pa. So, po, a homeschooling kid normally can walk up to an adult and not be shy, but very polite.
Mhm.
Yung ganun po, no? So, sabi nga ni doktora, totoo yun, I have not seen any homeschool kid na sobrang mahiyain. Lahat sila. Dahil hindi naman sila mayabang. It's just that they're
Oo.
confident. If they want to ask, they want to know, they
But
will
we
talk to, up to
but
you.
I think, Lala, we have to recognize merong personality traits ang
Yes,
bawat
meron
tao.
din po. Opo.
So meron talagang sadyang introvert, but it
Mm-mm.
is not the homeschooling that causes that. Kumbaga, meron din syempre yung leeway for personalities to come in na
Mm-mm.
minsan, ang rule is do not stereotype na just because homeschooled siya and
Eh, okay
napansin
na
mong
siya.
shy,
Oo.
i-connect mo na ay, kailangan
Oo.
ganyan. Ganyan, di
Correct.
ba? So,
Oo.
din tayo,
So,
kahit na traditional school, di
correct.
ba?
So,
Hindi rin
yes.
magbabox.
It's the same, no? So, tama si doktora, no? Ang galing talaga pag doktor, eh. Nakikita niya lahat. Oo, kumbaga, hindi siya parang backed up lang by your personal, kasi kailangan, hindi lang
Oo,
naman ikaw, eh. Kasi it's a whole
malawak.
community.
Oo,
Yes, tama
malawak.
yon, Doc. Thank you so much. Let's just try read some comments. Sam, good morning, Dr. Donna. Thank you for coming on the show today. And it's amazing to see how much homeschooling has changed in the Philippines. Yes, Sammy is ano tawag dito? A result of homeschooling as well.
Yes.
Okay. She was
Oo,
homeschooled.
oo.
Okay, Scrap Stash, good afternoon. Good afternoon din po.
Good afternoon, Scrap Stash. Yun ang pangalan
Alright.
niya.
Oo.
Hi!
Mga ano to eh, mga scrapbooker, mga ano natin. And
Ay, ako
then,
din, scrapbooker. My
opo, kasi
goodness.
we always have crafty nights every Wednesdays and Saturdays. So, marami tayong mga
Mm.
scrapbookers na
Oo.
nagwa-watch. Good afternoon po, Sis Lala and Dr. Donna. Good afternoon, Lavi.
Hello,
Si Lavi,
lovely,
I know,
lovely.
has, I think, a grade school child right now. So,
Mm.
Sis Lavi, manood ka at magtanong ka pa. Okay, if you have questions. Hello, Mami Lala and Dr. Donna. Good afternoon po, Miss B and Miss Mara Palen. Hello, Mami Lala and Dr. Donna. Glad you have this homeschooling 101 that
Mm.
could change the mindset of parents who are against the system. Opo, merong mga against, meron naman pong hindi lang nila masyadong alam. Yung parang, ano
Yeah.
ba talaga to? Gusto naman namin, kaya lang we don't really understand. Opo, so yun nga po
Mm.
yung desire namin today. Alright, and then also, Miss B also said, okay, eto, hindi ko lang mai-up yung, yan, doktora, is homeschooling expensive?
Okay.
Ayan.
So, si age UB. Okay. Homeschooling can be as affordable
Mhm.
and it can be as sky's the limit expensive. Depende yan sa inyo. Because
Okay.
I've done independent homeschooling na walang tuition. Ang
Opo.
gastos mo lang yung mga libro, saka
Mm-mm.
yung mga siguro outsourced classes, ganyan, yung mga
Mm-mm.
sports, art, ganyan. Pero you can also decide to go for the top homeschool provider and purchase all your books abroad, get all the tutoring, that it can be up to as high as an international school tuition.
Yes,
So,
totoo po.
ang maganda nga doon, parent-led. You can decide, ito ang budget ko. Paano ngayon kasi kasama yan sa decision making. Ito ang budget ko.
Yes.
So, ano yung mga options available sa akin base dun sa budget ko. Versus, if the school dictates, this is the tuition fee, all in, miscellaneous, whatever, matriculation, books, all in, kami ang bahala sa detalye. Just pay that lump sum in quarter installment. Hindi mo na alam yung detalye, di ba?
Mm-mm.
Pero sa homeschool, maski isang class na tutoring, 450 per hour, alam mo kung doon napunta yung gastos mo. Pero
Correct,
ang
oo. And you can
dami
control,
mo
you can control, Doktora. So, tama yun, no? I totally agree with Doktora. So, Miss B, it can be, so you can really work on your budget. Okay?
Yes.
So, let's say
And
this year, walang budget masyado, so you can leave yung other subjects na gusto mo sanang kunin, like, let's say, yung mga sports, sa music, pwedeng bawasan. Oo,
oo,
diba?
or DIY, hanap muna sa
DIY.
YouTube.
Correct,
Oo.
oo.
Pero the thing is, yung nag-survey ako last year sa Homeschoolers of the Philippines and ang daming sumagot. Tanong ko, nakatipid pa ho kayo? Sabi ko, in what ways? Ganyan.
Oo.
I would say 95% nagsabi na bumaba ng 50% up to even 75% yung gastos nila. Kasi all in, nilagay pa nila school bus, baon, and everything. Tapos tumaas naman daw sa areas lang nung pagkain sa bahay, tsaka yung electricity. Tsaka yung siguro yung mga subscription nila ngayon ng mga Netflix, kasi lahat nasa bahay, dinagdagan
Opo.
nila. mataas yung kanilang MBPS. So, na-balance nila. Pero despite that add-on, the lahat na sa bahay, 95% said up to 50% ang natipid nila
O, 'di
based
ba?
on the
Opo,
computation.
oo.
Diba?
So, 'di ba doktora, so ang ano is wag po kayong matakot kung ang
Mm-mm.
iniisip nyo yung papaano yung budget. That's the
Oo.
parang the least of your concerns when it comes to kumbaga dito po ang mas parang importante yung iba nga yung kaya ko ba paano pag hindi ako marunong magturo.
Oo,
Pwede ba
oo.
talaga lahat ng parent magturo? Paano kung hindi
Mm-mm.
talaga kaya? Let's say, yung kumbaga madali siyang magalit. Konting ano lang ng
Oo,
anak niya, papaano yun, 'di ba, sabi nila nagkakasakitan na kami,
yeah,
either in words or physical, 'di ba? So, ayoko na, ibabalik ko na lang sa school, hindi ko talaga kaya.
yeah.
So what
Oo.
happens if the desire is there and yet parang hindi nila, parang personally hindi the parent cannot handle it. So, ano yung advice natin, doktora, if
So,
ever?
ang advice natin dun is it all starts with self-awareness. Kilalanin nyo dapat yung sarili ninyo. And yung pag-dig in nyo sa research, malalaman nyo kung ano yung mga qualities na talagang mahalaga for a homeschooling parent. Pwede namang ma-develop yon, di ba?
Mhm.
Pero kung medyo talagang hirap kayo and then pipilitin, yun, parang you have to weigh what are the areas na I am willing to work on. If
Mm.
I'm willing to work on my hot temper, on my patience, am I willing to work on, kunyari, hindi ka masyadong magaling sa certain subject.
Mm.
Am I interested in it? Gusto ko bang basahin ang history ng Pilipinas? Talaga bang
Mhm.
matuturo ko siya ng may gusto at excited? O hindi? Talagang hindi ko talaga type, di ba? So,
Hmm.
self-awareness Kasi pwede namang i-outsource mo yung subject na yun dahil ayaw mo talagang hindi mo na hindi mo na hindi mo na carry bells yung ganong
Exactly,
level.
opo.
Pero yung character ang mas importante kasi
Mm.
kung high temper, hot-tempered ka, kung medyo masakit man magsalita, yung laging nega,
Mm.
baka hindi hindi
Hindi
maging
siya
positive.
option. Oo.
So, I would really go for a self-awareness check.
First.
Ask my friends, ask my husband, my partner, my spouse, and then ask my children, and then engage it. If
Okay.
I will be willing to be accountable and learn and grow, then let's try. But once your children start complaining, you have to listen. And yun. So, hindi ganun kasimple na um, kakayanin ko lahat. You
Mm.
have to be aware.
Yes,
Minsan
there will be
ka,
days po din talaga na talagang matitest ang inyong patience.
yes,
And
at
yun
magsusorry
pumapasok
ka.
po yung kagandahan ng merong community. Okay, and right now,
Yeah.
very active, very vibrant ang homeschool community. Maski nasaan ka po right now, pati nga yung mga abroad na mga nasa Filipino community.
Oo, meron na
Opo, may
sila.
support din sila. Alright, so comment naman po ni Miss Rams, I knew a lot of homeschoolers who doesn't have inferiority complex compared to institution school children. Again, opo, pero sabi nga ni Doktora, medyo case to case pa din daw po, no, Sis
Pero
Rams.
I
Oo.
think I can say, Alala, na meron kasing research base yan
Mm.
Formative years from 0 to 8 is when you develop confidence, when you
Mm.
develop your awareness of who you are. And I've noticed din talaga that homeschoolers that graduate from homeschooling, parang kilala nila yung sarili nila. They know what to
Mm.
do in life. They know what subject or what course to take.
Mm.
Kasama yun sa confidence
Correct,
You know
correct.
your strength, but you're also humble to admit your weaknesses. And
Mm.
I think the strong, and it's also backed up by research that a strong, nurturing, positive force in a child's life, kahit isa lang daw, which you can see in a homeschool mother or a
Mm.
father, no? Ang magkasama niya for the formative years. Sabi nga, tama siya na generally they develop a strong sense of self and
Mm.
they're less prone to inferiority
Mm.
experiences or yon yung mga doubts on their self.
Ayan, ang dami nating natututunan about, 'di ba? The real thing about homeschooling, no? So do parents need training for homeschooling their kids? Tanong ko din po
Okay,
'yan when I was beginning homeschooler.
okay. the DepEd actually has set a standard, no? But as I've said, when they came up with the inclusion of homeschooling in the DepEd framework, which is the basic K to 12 basic education program, sinala na nilang homeschooling doon. But they put there parents, tutors, guardians who are qualified. But in their statement, policy will parang pinuput together pa. They have not come up with that policy, yung requirements, qualifications, and it's like a toss yun eh. Para
Mm-mm.
bang with supervision comes requirements, but at the same time, with supervision can also come restrictions, di ba?
Mm-mm.
So sometimes you say, don't be worried about what you ask for. If you want DepEd to help us, at the same time, they might actually put in a lot of restrictions.
Correct,
So
correct.
for now, that's why pumasok ang homeschool providers. I think that's why, well, totoo naman, the DepEd has its reasons for wanting to maintain a certain quality of teaching. And they do know that majority also of Filipinos, have probably not reached the college degree or high school. And so kung ipapaasa mo sa lahat ang pagtuturo, there is a possibility na yung quality ma-affect, di ba? Kasi
Mm-mm.
hindi lahat has that level of the minimum level to teach your children. So that is a work in progress. But again, self-awareness. Kaya nga, kung alam mong mahina ka, kasi a very basic question, kung hindi ka fluent sa Filipino or Tagalog or whatever language you're teaching,
Mm-mm.
pwede ka bang maging main teacher ng anak mo for Filipino or Tagalog?
Mm-mm.
Kung hindi ka fluent in English, hirap na hirap kang magsulat in English, hirap kang magsulat ng fluent,
Mm-mm.
pwede ka bang maging the first main influence ng anak mo for language arts?
Mm-mm.
From reading, pronunciation, creative writing, di ba? So,
Mm-mm.
may isip mo kung why, the teachers who are all qualified and who are the, best teachers in English would have a little bit of doubt na baka hindi ma-expose sa magandang English or Tagalog, whatever
Mm-mm.
language, ang isang bata, kung aakuin ng hindi fluent. Di ba? So, yun yung
Mm-mm.
mga issues na hindi lang dahil they're so strict with requirements, kailangan ganito. They also want to protect the quality of education. So,
Yeah.
self-awareness. Kung hirap ka sa English, edi hanap ka ng paraan to also expose the children to, fluency in English. Or it can also work for Tagalog or other
Exactly.
languages.
Oo. So, yun yung kagandahan, no? You can find means and ways. Hindi
Mm-hmm.
tayo nakakahon. Okay? Like, let's
Yes.
say, our kids have different learning styles and learning abilities. Some have
Yes.
kinesthetic learners, some have visual
Yes.
learners.
Oo.
Oo. So,
Oo.
we can actually provide a customized way of how we do things. Hindi kailangan puro
Mm-hmm.
libro-based. Pwedeng gumawa ng iba. So, that's why
Oo.
as Doktora said, yung talagang like set na ito gagawin mo, talagang yung training na dapat ganito. So, hindi talaga very rigid kasi nga maraming pwedeng kumbaga it will depend on the family values also, 'di ba, Doktora?
Mm-hmm.
So, pero at least may
Oo.
minimal, yun yung sinasabi ni Doktora.
Yun. And I
Oo.
think the DepEd wants to look into that. If
Oo.
homeschooling continues and they really, kasi ngayon ang priority nila, syempre
Safety muna, yeah.
yung safety and the millions and millions of those doing modules and those
Oo.
doing, yung public school setup
Correct.
natin. So, syempre, initin na din lang yung homeschooling natin, pero there is a there is a possibility that at some point they might have to make strict requirements. For some providers, ang requirement talaga is college graduate. Although there is a way sometimes that they can also do guardianship, wherein the guardian is also a college graduate, but there is some sort of agreement with the parent who may not be a college graduate
Mm-mm.
to ina-assure ng guardian na qualified siya kahit hindi siya graduate ng
Mm-mm.
degree. Yan. So
Correct.
may konting leeway ang provider sa ganoon. Pero as for DepEd, they would like all their teachers of homeschoolers to be college graduates. Yun.
Mm-mm.
Nung sa huli nilang parang
Oo.
roll out,
Oo.
it's for review, so we don't really know the
Mm-mm.
outcome yet.
Pero sabi nga natin, so we'll just have to wait. Pero um,
Yes.
don't worry kasi there are means and ways. Kung hindi mo kaya, pwede kang mag-call for help. As
Oo nga.
Doktora said, and I said kanina, Doktora founded yung Homeschoolers of the Philippines, and it's a very vibrant and active group where I am also a part of. So if marami pa ho kayong questions, I would want to show to you, okay, kung saan po kayo pupunta. So, Doktora, wait lang po, ha? Alright.
Okay.
So, first and foremost, for the early, okay, later i-discuss to ni Doktora sa atin, no? So, for the younger homeschoolers, okay, so there's what we call Kid Starter, okay? So, you can look up their page. It's at in Facebook, so it's Kid Starter. At mamaya papadiscuss natin kay Doktora further yan, no? And then they also have a website, kidstarter.ph. And also, as we said, Doktora is not just a teacher or doctor, marami pa ho siyang ibang mga gustong i-share. Okay, so this is part of dun sa kanyang Facebook page where she talks about other stuff like health and wellness sa Teacher Donna MD. And ito nga po yung latest nila. So, meron po actually on June 3, 2021,
Yeah.
1:30 p.m. on a Thursday. Alright, so there's a sharing our preschool homeschool journey. For those who actually, mas marami sa atin ng gustong mag-homeschool during the preschool years. Kasi nga talagang formative years to eh. So I understand. I also did this, no, with my son. So please mark the date, okay, June 3, 2021. And then we will discuss this with Doktora later on. And of course, where is the okay, okay. Okay, let's go back first to us. Okay, so hindi ko nakita yung Homeschoolers of the Philippines. Okay,
Ay, bale.
oo, mamaya ipapakita ko na hindi ko na siya mahanap. Okay, of course, the Homeschoolers of the Philippines, it's a Facebook group po. Okay,
Yes, it's
so you can
private
join.
Facebook.
It's a
Yes,
private
Facebook
Facebook
yan.
group po. So,
Yeah.
very, ano po yun, may process, maayos po, hindi magulo yung group, okay? So, there's a time where we can, if you want to know about where to buy, what to do, so and then yung
Mm.
mga tao, they're so, ready to help. What can I do if I
Yes.
have ganito? So, ano pa yung mga questions nyo? You can post it in that group. Basta
Mm.
respectful lang po, walang problema. I learned a lot from being in that group for so many years, like also yung let's say wala akong budget, hindi ko kaya bumili brand new, okay, marami din
Mm.
pong nasa group na after they
Mm.
finished it, inaalagaan nila, then they also sell some stuff. Okay, so lahat po
Mm.
ng klaseng support nandun, marami pong support. Okay, and Doktora, so yung kanina napakita ko yung tungkol sa Kid Starter. Alright.
Ah.
So, nakikita ko yung mga books sa likod mo na ang
Ayan,
gaganda.
okay.
Oo.
Yes,
There.
bigyan
Oo.
na.
Ganyan talaga. Lahat ng homeschool family, I think, meron tayong ganyan. Okay, maski anong
Oo.
itsura, definitely we have like a place where we have all our favorite books na ginagamit
Ayun.
natin. So, Doc, ano tong Kid Starter na to? So, papakita natin yung sa slide.
Sige, sige.
Okay, so Doc.
Okay, there.
Yan.
Is it there na? You
Yes
see
po.
it?
Yes. Pwede
Okay,
ng
so I will
full, yan.
very fast lang because, I'm sure nagbe-break lang ang mommies natin for lunch. So,
Oo.
Kidstarter was put together by a team. Teacher Liana Lim Cruz, a master's degree holder in early childhood education in Bank Street College in New York, progressive education. Angela Palanca, a business,
Wow.
expert, and Jana Mendoza, Simpao, my sister-in-law, who's a marketing expert too. So we put that together, all moms trying to homeschool or do home-based learning. Yeah, and so we put it and launched it in 2019. It took us 2 years to make it because we were all mommies and we were all homeschooling. And it is a complete preschool guide that celebrates learning through play. So, 2 book set siya. May teacher's guide, may activity guide. So,
Wow.
talagang napag-isipan dahil it was a merging of an early years childhood expert, mommies, and a homeschooling, advocate and a preschool teacher. So, lahat pinag-isipan namin. And so, yan ang dalawang author. So a doctor and a master's degree holder in education. So ang disciplines niya are normally what you would take in a regular preschool, but it's
Mm-hmm.
done through play and exploration. Numeracy, literacy, social studies, music movement, and art and science and
Science.
outdoors. So lahat yan naka-incorporate in play-based, game-based, explorative way.
Mm-hmm.
Ang maganda sa kanya, meron kaming celebration of language and culture of the Filipino, or you can tweak it to your own language if you have language in your region, Cebuano, whatever. Bisaya, Ilonggo, ganyan. So, Filipino Corner, there are stretchers,
Wow.
activities that allow you to change it, tweak it for the next day. Conversation starters, paano ba makipag-usap sa mga anak para hindi lang yes and no ang sagot, para mas malago ang ating pag-uusap, and a treasury of read alouds, yung mga bestsellers na books, both local and foreign books
Uy,
for
yan, gusto
kids.
ko yan. Oo.
Yan. So, hindi ka na pupunta sa Google at whatever, nandun nakalista lahat. And then we give
Mm-mm.
you ideas on how to use them. So yun, so it's a very simple ready, get, set, go fashion. You just need to ready your materials, get set, actually put them together. Sorry. Ready is why am I doing this?
Mm-hmm.
Sorry. Ready is materials, ready, get set is why am I doing this? Ano ba ang philosophy ng pag ginawa namin ito activity na to? And then go are the instructions. Sorry, naguluhan lang ako ng konti sa Tagalog.
Mm-mm.
So this is how it's laid out. Very simple. Ready materials, get set. What is the logic? What is the purpose of the activity? What can children learn? And go the instructions. And a certain activity like this can be done again and again in different, scenarios. Then, may
Mm-mm.
Filipino corner na relate natin yung, kunyari, ito, pag-guess ng bilang ng, yung sa numeracy, no?
Mm-mm.
I-relate natin sa magagawa niya sa bahay, like sungka, di ba? Or kung ano-ano man na pwede niyang gawin, no? So, yan ang Filipino corner. So, kunyari, it is under numeracy, pero we have culture and language na pwede mong pagsabay.
Correct.
Yan.
Homeschool
Yan.
na
So,
homeschool ang dating, no? Talagang
ang
mix and
maganda,
match. Oo.
kung may gawin kang ganyan, syempre you need the validation of others kung gusto
Yes.
ni to. So we've been able to partner with a lot of others. Preschool mismo na gumamit ito during the pandemic last school year or even planning to order again because na-realize nila they need the parent support. So Spark, Prep Camp, Toddlers Unlimited, they purchased
Mm-mm.
and they used it for their Homeschool Connect. Homeschool Global has recommends our material for their preschoolers. So, yan, that's the actual look. Papakita ko lang
Nice. Oo, ang
yung
ganda
mga
daw kasi
favorite.
ang problema kasi when we're trying to homeschool, like especially for the first time in the preschool age, no, which I tried to do with my eldest before. At that time, it was so hard. Ang point ko was,
Mm,
paano talaga? Okay, I have the material, pero paano ko to i-roll out? Di ko talaga alam. I needed somebody to tell me what to do. And that's the nice thing about this curriculum, no? This kid
yes,
starter thing. So it comes with a set of books na everything is
yes,
there. Okay, why are you gonna
yes,
do this? How are you gonna roll it out? What will the kids learn? How will you do it? So, andun na lahat. So, hanggang finally, ma-adapt mo na din. So, these are basically,
yes.
suggestions yan. But you can
Wow.
actually even, make it better. Kasi kung yung anak mo mahilig, let's say, ang suggestion is something of a play na ganito. Ang alam mo, ang anak mo mas mahilig sa cars, mas mahilig sa dolls. You can adapt.
Yeah,
Oo.
yes.
But ang
Ang
problema
ganda ng word
natin,
mo
yung,
lang.
opo, hindi natin alam
Adapt.
paano, where to start. But once you know how to start, then your confidence builds up. Ay, nako. Unlimited opportunities na for, how you're gonna roll out your homeschooling. So this is a
Yes,
very wonderful thing that Dr. Donna and her co-author actually did. Oo, talagang super thank you. If I am now, homeschooling a child still, kasi medyo nasa grade 6 na yan ako na
oo
bunso.
nga.
Oo, so hindi na ako dito. Pero for those friends of mine who want to keep on asking me, paano ba ang gagawin? How do you, this is what I
Yes.
suggest. Oo.
And Lala, may I say lang, that the
Yes,
difference
Doctor.
between what we offer Because some will just really focus on activities. They'll
Mm-mm.
focus on a lesson plan, and then, but without really also empowering the parent on what it means to be a preschool teacher. So
Mm-mm.
the first 5 chapters of our book, which is in the teacher's guide,
Mm-mm.
deals with that. What are the
Nice.
qualities of a preschool teacher ba talaga? So
Mm-mm.
based on recent updated research, which is the power of play, the power of read aloud, yung being a nurturing person, yung being able to let the child make decisions. So yung ganong klaseng, yung sinasabi nating qualifications, or at least man lang to level up yung parent, so that
Mm-hmm.
when they engage with children, yung mindset nila is like, play is the best way to learn for this age. We do not need to rush them. We need to focus more on the process versus the output products.
Yes.
We can't force them to read if they're not ready. We can't force them to write if they don't like. So, may mga, yun yung first 5 chapters. So that when they come into the day of engaging with the kids, parang they'll say, I research says, hindi pa kailangan, I
Mm-mm.
shouldn't force it. Ganyan. So,
Opo.
so parang instead of just going dive into the activities, we invite parents to read up on those very basic on
Correct.
play, very basic on even bilingualism. We have a chapter on bilingualism because we believe this is the best age to teach multiple languages.
Yes,
Meron
I
kami
agree.
chapter.
So,
Yun.
napakaganda, Doc. Bakit ba wala pa yung libro mo nung ako'y nag-aano? Kasi talagang yan yung problema ko talaga noon. Yung, ang
Ayan, so
dami
may
kong
lesson
gustong
plan pa.
gawin. Oo, parang,
Oo,
bakit
meron.
yung anak niya kaya na ng ganun? Bakit yung, we have
Oo.
that, especially if your first child, di ba? Malay mo naman paano maging parent, di ba? Ang alam mo
Yeah,
lang is
oo.
how you were brought up, pero how do you really do it? Hindi mo din alam. So yung pala,
So
no? So
let's,
even in the
yeah.
book, it will discuss to you na, okay, there are certain times na hindi lang sila ready pa. Okay, so,
Yes.
that doesn't mean na hindi nila kaya, hindi nila alam. It's just that hindi pa sila ready. So talagang this is
Yes.
an amazing curriculum. And I know that there is a promo right
Yes.
now. So papuntahan ko, Doktora, ha? I will show it to them. Alright, so there's an early bird rate until June 6, 2021. So it's gonna be 8,990 na lang po. Regular rate niya from June 7 to July 10 is gonna be 9,990. So that's a discount of 1,000 pesos. And there's a 3-month program to jumpstart your homeschooling journey. So again, nasa Facebook po yan, or you can go to their webpage, kidstarter.ph. Alright? And then, hindi ko na talaga mahanap ang Homeschoolers of the Philippines. Again, that's a very, very rich resource for you po. Okay, actually, if I remember right, Doktora, yung logo natin ng Homeschoolers of the Philippines is actually done by a homeschooler, di ba? Isa sa mga anak ng isang homeschooling parent natin. Right, Doktora?
Actually, dalawa.
Dalawa ba
It's
yan
merged
sila?
by
Nag-merge
my
sila.
daughter and Milona Baracas' daughter. So
Yes,
dalawa silang
oo.
nag-merge.
Napakagaling. Kasi there was a call for that a few years back, and I remember that. So talaga tungtunga ako na ang galing ng mga bata, ang ganda ng mga ang galing talaga ng mga bata. So imagine sila din po and then that has been used ever since. And I'd also like to
Yes.
thank Dr. Donna, for those who don't know, meron po tayong National Homeschoolers Day.
Homeschool.
Alright? Oo, hindi lang
Yeah.
po sa abroad. Meron sa Philippines. And basically, dahil isa po si Doktora na talagang nag-push for that. She really helped. Kaya meron pong National Homeschooling Day. O, diba? Talagang ganun na po kaano.
Mark.
Oo. So, yun po. Okay, Doktora, papakita ko lang yung short video, okay, of yung if you are like, so, paano ba tong kid starter na to? So, panoorin ho natin, ha? Ay, okay. Hold on, sorry naman. Hindi ko pala siya nailagay pa. Okay, hold on. Okay, so pag may questions pa po kayo, just simply...
I-clarify ko lang that
Yes, Doc.
the book is 3,990. Yung kaninang flinash mo is called KCC, wherein you
Ay,
have
ano
the
yun? Iba
book.
yun, Doktora? Okay, sige. Balikan kita dyan,
Hindi.
Doktora. Ayaw. Okay, ano ba 'tong nangyari dito sa aking ano, biglang ayaw lumabas nitong aking NDI. Okay, kanina tinesting pa natin 'to, doktora, 'di ba? Okay na okay. Okay, I will just try again. Okay, ayaw niyang lumabas. Okay, last try. Last try. Okay, naririnig pero hindi mapakita. Anyways, ayaw niya magpakita today,
Okay
doktora.
lang. Okay
Oo.
lang.
Oo. But anyways, I will try to upload pa din. Kasi, pero maganda po sana kung mapakita ko. Kasi,
Oo.
oo, makikita niyo talaga yung the
The kids.
yes, the kit. Oo. So again, doktora, paki-explain ulit yung baka malito sila
Okay,
dahil sa
the
sinabi
difference
ko.
in
Opo.
when we launched it in 2019, ang ganda ng reception
Mm-mm.
and a lot purchased, no? Which we set it at 3,990 because it's high quality. Eh. You
Mm-mm.
can really cut it and you can really reuse
Mm-mm.
puppets. It's very thick. You can paint on it. So
Oo.
all the
For the 2
pages,
books na yon, doktora, yung price,
for
oo, mura na po
books. So
yun dahil ang mamahal ng mga books, 'di ba, natin sa
yeah,
homeschool.
this one is so sturdy. You can eat there even is a Filipino flag. There's
Yeah.
a
And it's very
Filipino map.
colorful. Oo,
In
ang ganda po, oh.
celebration of Eric Carl, you can also use your
Yes.
own caterpillars.
Oo.
So it's very
The Hungry
colorful.
Caterpillar.
Oh, so much very sturdy and it's a high
Oo.
grade material. You can paint
Oo.
on it
So
and then
this
you
is
can
the
make glass
option they
on it.
have, doktora. So either the book lang, or yung kaninang finlash
Or
ko.
yeah,
Oo.
now we launch a PCC Plus because we knew that some other parents need a lot of hand holding in the initial stages. So
Mm-mm.
3 months with 2 webinars, 5 parent classes, parent and child classes, wherein we engage the children in
Wow.
games, activities. Then there's a 3 month lesson plan, and you get the set and also the Kid Starter Everyday Journal, is
Oh,
which
that's
is our
new.
notebook, yeah, for 3 to 7 years old, which we sell also in Lazada, in Shopee, and in Starter PH. Lahat naman to
Mm-mm.
available there, and
Mm-mm.
even the yon. So this set plus the mentoring, the
Oh, yun,
free the
very
seminar,
important yun.
lesson
Oo.
plan has an early bird rate of 8,990. Sa early bird rate namin is June 6, which is already 6 days or 7 days to go. So,
Okay, nako.
and
Limited lang po
original
ba
price.
to, doktora? Or yung time lang,
Yes.
pero yung supply is it okay o limited din siya?
Hindi naman. Pero
Okay
I
naman.
think, syempre, we might have to open, I think it's okay because
It's
we've
okay.
created a system that will enable as many can join.
Okay,
And
that's
but we're
good.
only offering it for the first 3 months of, it's gonna start rolling out, I think, in August, September, October. So
Yes.
parang may enrollment. So parang meron kaming pa-taste ng homeschool provider for homes for
That is
these
so
trainees.
nice. I would have, you know, kung ako talaga ay may preschooler,
Oo nga. So,
gustong-gusto
balita
ko
mo, Dana.
'yan.
Balita mo
Oo.
kasi homeschooling may be hard, may be tough, pero with proper support,
Mm.
ang saya niya. so,
Oo,
so yun,
correct.
yun. Oo.
Oo, makikipag-coordinate ako kay doktora. Parang gusto kong magpa-raffle niyan in the future. Oo, dito
Oo,
sa aking
sige.
channel at saka sa aking ano, I will probably get from Kid Starter kasi marami
Okay.
akong mommy channel ako eh. So I would want them to experience. Okay, sige.
Thank
Oo,
you,
doktora,
Yana.
try natin ulit ha. Kasi hindi ako mapakali. Bakit hindi siya mag-run? Okay. So, titry ko lang baka naman, okay, so nag-work yung mga cameras natin. Okay. Sorry lang po kasi gusto ko talagang makita nyo po dahil napakaganda niya. Ang cute-cute po nung video. Okay, try nga natin kung yung isang video ang aking
Yung
i-play.
community, oo, nag-share.
Oo. Kasi po, mapapakita dun sa video, yung talagang ayan, ayan, ayan na, pwede
Ayan na.
na. Oo,
Okay.
ayan. Sabi ko na, hindi ako give up eh. Hmm.
Yan yung nagka-classes din kami noon.
Mm-mm.
Yung pagkakataon dito sa halin. Ayan, sinasabi niya, what's in a bag? May guess mo kung ano
Oo.
yung mga oh, yan ang shaving cream. Yan, magnet. Yan, clamping. Ay, nako, limitless.
Opo.
Dami pwedeng gawin. Yan yung ublek. Painting.
Mhm.
Yan, map of the Philippines, di ba?
Oh, 'di ba?
Meron.
Talagang ano, inadapt sa ating Philippine setting.
Ayan, may magnet pa yung fishy-fishy. Ayan,
Ang
si
galing.
Caterpillar. Yan, huwag na kayong umanat ng ibang preschool.
Oo.
Thank you. So ngayon, ang susuportahan naman namin is with actual classes and parent webinars. Yun.
So, ganun po, no? Nakita natin dun sa video, ganun, okay? How it is rolled out, okay? So, kasi parang sa pagsabuk, paano gagawin? Ayun po. So, dun sa video na yun napakita, okay? So, paano talaga na-apply? Nakita nyo naman po, imagine, instead of the usual, di ba, what's in the box? Bayong! O, di ba, talagang naka-Philippine setting, bayong, di ba? So, pwede mo na rin explain what's sa bayong, di ba? So, ang galing, ang ganda-ganda po talaga ng
Homeschooler ka
program.
talaga, Lala. Gets na gets mo.
Opo, oo. Kasi, we always want to incorporate yung culture natin eh. Oo. So, and napakaganda sa mga bata, pag abstract, ang hirap makuha, 'di ba? So, when you actually show them the actual thing,
Yes.
and then they can play with it, and then, tapos, ano pa, tactile, 'di ba? Iba-ibang klaseng, ano yun, merong foam, shaving cream, 'di ba? Oo, mag-enjoy talaga. Pati ako, ma-enjoy dyan eh, 'di ba?
Jeepney o bakya. Gagawa sila ng
Oh,
bakya.
'di ba? Bakya. Oh, naku, gustong-gusto ko 'yan. Nakakapagsuot lang tayo ng bakya kapag merong Filipiniana Day, ganyan-ganyan.
Oh,
Oo, correct. So
favorite.
again, oo, thank you so much, Doktora. It has been a
Thank you for
very
this time.
wonderful time with you. Alam ko ang dami pang tanong ng iba, but we had to let Doktora go at marami pa rin siyang appointment. It's a Friday. But it has been a blessing.
Yeah.
Maraming and I hope we can have you back for new programs or new updates on the
Yeah.
homeschooling community. Again, with that, we'd like to say thank you and see you again next week. Goodbye, Doktora. Bye, everyone. Have a blessed Friday and weekend. God bless.
Thank you, Lala.
Thank you din po, Doktora. Bye-bye.